Hi class, this is Dr. Halstead. Welcome to week 7 of Family Therapy 1. Good job, you've made it, and I look forward to grading your assignments about Bowen today. As I already said, he is one of my favorite theorists, just really foundational person to the profession. So I'm glad you have been introduced to him. And I just think you will always use his concepts, whether you know it or not. Many of them are factored into other models of therapy. But this week, we're moving to our cumulative assignment. And this is where you're going to make some choices about the models that you like the most and how to incorporate general systems theory into those models. General systems theory, as you know, is foundational to our field. We are systems theorists. And I think probably a better name than marriage and family therapy is human systems analysts, because it's much broader than just what a couple does or a family does. You can look at any system. And so like if you're thinking about Bowen, you can look at a system, look at the triangles, the coalitions, the boundaries. I do a lot of consulting with churches, and Bowen's theory is often applied to churches. So differentiation, it just makes sense and fits a system. So that's a little side thing. But this week, you're going to look at which model interests you and why. That's the first question or discussion post you're going to do. So again, be sure to cite your required sources this week. You finally have Gehart as a primary source or your required source, so feel free to use that information. I will allow on this post for you to go back and use other required readings throughout the course if you want to cite Satir or Minuchin, or that is just fine. But so you've been exposed to several models, and now you get to choose which one do you like the most or which one intrigues you the most. But be sure to give a good rationale. And then the second is you're going to go back to that family theory course that you took not too long ago, where you did all the definitions, and you're going to choose 2 concepts that are common across the models. So go back and look at those definitions that you did and choose 2 of those, and then talk about how they fit with all the different models. So you just have to do a brief description, but you have to incorporate all the models that you've learned this term. And then your assignment, you have the group assignment, and I put you in groups a long time ago, actually before the course started. So be sure to look in the people at the group. It's called W1 because we're the first section, Modern Models Final Presentation. And you're going to look at, be sure to get a hold of your group partner or partners. Some of the groups are 2 people, some are 3. But you're going to put together a 10 to 12 slide PowerPoint or Prezi presentation, and you're going to apply your selected model, the one that you and your partner or partners choose. You're going to apply it to the cumulative case study. So there's a case study in there. Be sure to use that one. And then you're going to address the following components. So let me just say a bit about each one. So theoretical constructs is, what are the assumptions? What are the foundational principles of that model? So be sure to look back at that. The role of the therapist, you've described that in each of your assignments every week. What constellation is appropriate for this presenting problem? that is shown in the case study. By that, it's asking, what is your identified client? Is it an individual? Is it the couple? Is it the family? That's a constellation, individual, couple, family. You're just deciding with the model you choose and the case study, what is the most appropriate constellation. You're going to talk about, according to that model, what's the beginning, middle, and end of therapy. And each model will identify that. Some of them you have to dig a little farther. You looked at that with your structural or your strategic models when you compared them. So, and you did that with the structural map, except in that assignment, you were talking about a map for the client at the beginning of the therapy, the middle, and end. This time, you're identifying what you would use with the client at the beginning, middle, and end. So it's from the therapist's perspective. What are you seeing with a client? What do you do in the beginning of therapy? What do you do in the middle of therapy? What do you do at the end of therapy? So it's from your perspective. And then along with that, what are the main interventions you would implement? And that's going to go along with what you just talked about with beginning, middle, and end. How you envision those interventions impacting the system and how you're going to try to move the system towards second order change. So by now, you know what second and first order change is. So you and your partner or partners are going to describe how you move through all that. So 10 to 12 slides, and that doesn't include the title slide or the references. So it's, if you want to add those to it, it'd be 12 to 14 slides. And be sure to read and reread, as I keep saying, the assignment instructions and also the rubric. Keep looking at it. Don't miss. Some of you are still missing points because you're not reading those carefully. And also, some of you are missing points on discussion posts and assignments because you're still not using correct APA Manual 7 format. So you have to get how to do citations correctly and references correctly. And when you put something in quotation marks, there has to be a page number. So refer back to the manual, but by this time, that should not be an issue. You should have that down pat. And then your final assignment for this class is you're going to demonstrate it. So that's what this is about. You're learning these models, not just to think, oh, these are good and I agree with them and I get this. It's you want to use them. And so that's the final assignment of this course or this term, is that you're going to show how to use structural or strategic or Bowen or Satir. You're going to show that you know how to do it. So look at those, the model, or look at several models you like and ones you think you are comfortable using. And then you're going to implement. So 7 to 10 minute video demonstrating 2 interventions. So you just got done with Bowen. One of those interventions would be drawing a genogram. If you use structural, one of those would be drawing a structural map with the family. If you use Satir, one of those would be addressing the communication stances or doing a mandala with them. So whatever model you have, the interventions have to be consistent with that model. And you're going to find some volunteers to do that with. So, and it's important, and this is part of it, that you are acting like a professional. So dress like a therapist. Don't be in shorts and a t-shirt. Dress like your actual therapist working with a client system, even though there are people who are close to you probably. But So again, on this one, read and reread the assignment and read and reread the rubric. So you make sure you get every single part of it. But you have done very well. This is a lot to take in. It's shortly after this that you'll start your internship. I know some of you have already. And that's when it really starts to make sense at a different level, where I'm sitting with a client and I'm seeing a triangle. What do I do with that? I work on differentiation. So this is where you start to actually help people, and you use these models in order to help them make that second order change that you've learned about. I've enjoyed having you in class. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope I see you in another class or an internship down the road. So take care. God bless you. Bye.